blessed Good Friday to you. On this holy day, I wanted to share some thoughts with you from this book by John Fischer called On a Hill Too Far Away. I read it about 30 years ago, and it had such a profound impact on who I am that I'm hoping when I share it with you today, it will be meaningful for you as well. You need to understand that he starts this book by talking about a church in Greenwich, Connecticut. That is a Presbyterian church. It's a beautiful church, and smack dab in the middle of the sanctuary, about 3 feet in front of the chancel area, is a big, ugly wooden cross. Other churches have crosses in the back or crosses in front of the pulpit or wherever. This church has a huge cross in the middle of the sanctuary, and the weddings process around it. Pallbearers bump into it. People crane around it to see what the preacher's doing or saying. So that inspired him to write this book about how the cross needs to be not just at the center of our faith, but the center of our lives. So, here you go. I hope. This is my third attempt. It's been so windy. The role of the cross in our salvation is one thing, but what role does it play after? How does the cross factor into the process of making us whole? Simply put, the cross does for us what it did for Christ. It kills us. We have found many ways around this truth. We have softer meanings by the truckload, ways of interpreting the cross that fall considerably short of death. But it is useless to try to change the unavoidable. Where there is a cross, there must also be death. No one in history has ever half died on a cross. If after a while a criminal was only half dead, soldiers came by and broke his legs to speed up the process. They didn't take anyone down until he was dead. Now, C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity addressed this no-compromise death by having Christ speak to us in the following manner. I have not come to torment your natural self, but to kill it. No half measures are any good. I don't want to cut off a branch here or a branch there. I want to have the whole tree down. This idea of dying to self and taking up your cross is one of the hardest concepts in the Christian faith to understand. But it is hard not because it's complicated. It's hard because it is so difficult to accept. We try to complicate it precisely because we know intuitively what it means and we don't like it. Nobody wants to die. The meaning of dying to self has to be something as obvious as the fact of I die. I cease to be. I have to step over my own body to get on with life. I am no longer the reason for my existence. I am no longer concerned for my own happiness. How can you be concerned with the happiness of someone who is dead? I am no more. I am no longer in the picture. I am no longer the center of my own little universe. I no longer arrange the world around myself. Go to the place where you used to find John Fischer, and you won't find him anymore. He's dead. The place is empty. And instead, you should encounter a shining being saying, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" At least that's the way it should be and it can be. Come to where you used to find me, and you should find Christ instead. Let me say that again. Come to where you used to find me, and you should find Christ instead. Living and caring for others at the expense of himself, like he always did. This is the way it should be and could be for all of us who believe. If instead you find good old John Fischer still worrying and manipulating and measuring out his few spiritual coins and clinging to the coattails of his comfortable, debilitating fear, it's only because he doesn't want to die. He's clinging to the dead thing and telling himself it is more alive than Christ. Dying to self has to mean I live for someone else. That's the whole point. Christ does not just ask us to die for the fun of it. Christ asks us to get rid of one life because he has a much better one in mind. Our old life is only capable of caring for its small little self. The new self, the new one, is selfless, generous, broad in goodwill, and abundant with love and kindness. The new life loses itself in God and everyone else. The new life is like Christ when he gave up being God so he could be a servant. The new one is like Ebenezer Scrooge after the third ghost. John Fischer, On a Hill Too Far Away. When I first read this and conceived in my mind the image of my having to step over my own dead body to get on with life, I've never let go of that image. I need to get out of the way of myself. I need to get out of the way of Christ in me. I bet you've asked at one point in your life or another, I wish I knew what God's will was in this circumstance. And the reality is that we can know God's will in any circumstance. But the only way to do that is if God's will and our will are the same thing. Think about that a minute. If we unite our wills to God's, then we're always doing God's will. It's like what Paul describes in the letter to the church in Philippi, having the mind of Christ. And I make it sound so easy when you know it's not and I know it's not. But on this Good Friday, I invite you to take another step in that direction. I want you to imagine a sacred place. This is one of my sacred places. Close your eyes for a minute. Imagine you are there. Imagine a big old cross, what's right smack in the middle of it. Imagine yourself dying to your own self, to your own wants and needs and desires, and becoming alive to a truly new and different life in Jesus Christ. Let's pray together. God, this is a tough time for all of us. And yet, more than any time, maybe in my lifetime, certainly, or in history, we need you to be the center of our lives. We need this cross to rule our lives so that we no longer think about ourselves, but we are willing to be selfless and to do whatever it takes to help you redeem this broken world. God, shine your light through us in ways we can't even imagine. Open up our hearts and minds so that we do indeed desire to unite our will to yours. And we pray these things in the holy and awesome name of your Son, who died for us, and rose again to show us the way. Amen. So I hope you enjoyed that reading of John Fischer's On a Hill Too Far Away. You might know that name because John Fischer also wrote one of the most popular camp songs of all time called Have You Seen Jesus, My Lord? And so I am going to make an attempt to play that for you today and sing that for you today. Please sing with me and sing loudly. One, to cover up my singing, but also to include those cool harmonies that I can't do by myself, especially here in the woods without multiple tracks. So let's give it a shot. Have you seen Jesus, my Lord?